What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Finally getting around to doing a showcase video dedicated for Kaido and King. I just want to say as well, is that like when you are trying to put this character on your team and you actually search Alba in your character box, this character does not show up. For some reason, even though he doesn't have the mask, he is still classified as King rather than Alba. I feel like that might be a little bit of a mistake in game. I digress. We're here to talk about the unit as a whole, and when we first saw the initial breakdowns of these units, I was definitely far more impressed with what Kaido and Alba were producing. However, after actually using them in content, I must say I actually do prefer Big Mom and Katakuri, which is crazy to say because, like, when you look at this character on paper, especially the super type or super class of this unit, it is one of the best super classes in the entire game, hands down. But it just feels like a lot of the other kit just feels a little bit of a letdown, and we'll talk about it as we go along. So let's get into the captain ability here. Captain ability is pretty decent overall, giving cooldown to Driven and Powerhouse. It boosts the chances of landing a deck slot as a captain, and then also makes deck slots into Wano, so you can really abuse that in certain circumstances. One thing that comes to mind straight away would be a character like Clash Cracker, who's a Powerhouse Cerebral unit. Special ability changes all slots into decks. Something in that vein is really strong. Also like Green Bull, the Legend Green Bull, he's a Powerhouse unit, can transform all slots into decks, basically generating you a full board of Wano slots. So do keep those characters in mind if you end up using this guy in your team. Furthermore, in terms of the attack boost, 5.75 times attack boost to Driven and Powerhouse when they have a non-type slot. So, you know, obviously if it's like Recovery, Tandem, Wano, Semla, Rainbow, Empty, you'll get the 5.75. Otherwise, it's going to be 5.5 times otherwise. And of course, that's the dual captain ability. The solo captains go from 5.5 to 5.25. So do keep that in mind. Now, in their dual captain as well, they will also make recovery and tandem slots beneficial. And then when you go ahead and take damage from an enemy or you tap with a Wano slot, it's going to inflict ignited status on all enemies that goes through immunity, which is really strong. Being able to generate that free ignited status, very reminiscent of like Magma Kaido, for example, being able to just easily generate the increased damage taken effect on the opponent, which is, you know, it's a little bit different because this is ignited status, not increased damage taken, but same kind of vein, right? Very, very powerful effect to be able to do that because it's both proactive and reactive. If the opponent does damage to you, boom, they're inflicted with it. If you tap with a Wano slot, boom, you also get it as well. And their switch effect, of course, does generate a Wano slot on themselves, so you can use the switch effect, get a Wano slot, tap with them, generate the ignited status. It all makes sense, right? Furthermore, there is an added effect which is kind of interesting, where if King, Queen, or Jack is a crewmate and they use the special while this character is the captain, then it will allow your crew's chain multiplier effects and type boosts or color affinity boosts to be buffed twice. They get a double buff, and then will allow them to get a 0.25 increase to the color affinity and to the chain buff. This effect is kind of interesting. I don't know how useful this will be. I will say though that since using Kaido and Katakuri and Big Mom, should I say, like Legend Smoothie, for example, is really good because Smoothie can generate like that chain boundary effect, and if you're running Katakuri and Big Mom, you can just get double buffs straight away on top of it, which is really strong. Something like Legend Perispero could also do something similar in that vein too. So, you know, I think that in due time, this is probably going to be a powerful effect. I mean, like, you could use a lot of the characters, like even like Legend Queen, for example. The Int one gives you a color affinity boost. This allows it to get buffed. So there's some pretty cool instances where this effect is strong. But the other effect in this character, why it's strong, is that while this character is the captain, either in Alba's form or in the dual form, then it removes their own Bind, Despair, Special Reverse, Special Bind, and Paralysis completely. So, of course, it's only for himself, but being able to remove all of those effects is very strong, especially because, you know, you need to generate the ability of their super type in order to remove, you know, Special Reverse and Special Bind on your crew. So being able to have this character set as Alba as a crewmate, have the crewmate ability to resist a bunch of debuffs, then switch into the captain spot, use the special, use the super type, boom, you're good to go. I will say, though, that I think it is a bit of a missed opportunity that this character does not have fear reduction. because that would just make this character pretty much complete, because there are instances where you want to have this character as a sub to abuse the crewmate ability where this character is basically immune to a bunch of stuff, and it's unfortunate that, you know, you just don't get access to that. So just a bit of a missed opportunity, I feel, in that regard. I guess we'll talk about the switch effects first. So every time you switch, you'll get the effect of generating a Wano slot on this unit, and then a 15% resistance down for strength, dex, and quick. Now, don't scoff at that. 15% is pretty good every time you switch, especially if you're running double, you know, King and Kaido. Being able to get 30% resistance down for 3 types every turn, that's actually really strong, because remember, it goes through full immunity, stackable on top of every other type of buff. It's generating 3 debuffs on the opponent, which can help with some other characters that have effects that are based on the amount of debuffs on the opponent's side of the field. So kind of an underrated mechanic there. And then, of course, the captain shift, the character has to be in the middle left position. And then when you perform the captain shift, you will also get a 3-turn cooldown reduction for the unit, and then changes adjacent slots into Wano, and gives you a conditional boost against ignited and paralyzed enemies for 2 turns. So being able to generate that is pretty cool. So this character has the ability to generate their own Wano slot, generate the conditional boost, which of course allows you to tap with the Wano slot and get the condition applied on the opponent to get that self-proccing conditional boost. It is pretty strong, I will admit, pretty decent, but of course if you're talking about a super boss scenario here, like what we're doing in this clip, even though this character can generate all these effects by itself, like a 2x conditional boost, you can definitely do better than that. So it's kind of like an added bonus. You're probably not going to be abusing that effect that often, but you know, the option is there if you do want to go ahead and use it. Let's have a look at the special ability now. So the special ability does do 1 million fixed damage to all enemies that goes through everything, including normal attacks only, which is pretty nice. 300 times their attack in typeless damage to all enemies at the end of the turn for 2 turns, allowing you to get around resilience buffs, which is always nice to have. And a very unique mechanic that this character has with the special, being able to remove 3 turns of tap limit. I believe this is the first character in the game, or one of the first characters in the game to remove tap limit. Of course, you got like Shirahoshi Manshuri, for example, but tap limit usually it doesn't really like come up that much. So being able to have a way to remove it, I guess, is kind of nice, but a very abnormal type of debuff that you typically do not remove. This character is one of the key units, though, that can help you remove it. Furthermore, removing 7 turns of bind is also very good. Being able to switch this character in the captain spot, this character being like immune to bind as a captain, then having this special ability to then remove bind for your crewmates, pretty powerful effect to have. Furthermore, if you've got a driven or a powerhouse captain, it gives a chain multiplier boost for 2 turns based on your HP when you launch the special. So you want to use the special when you're below 30% health. If you do that, it's a 1.75 times chain multiplicative buff for 2 turns. So that's pretty strong overall. And then it says that if your HP is 30% or above when you launch the special, it allows your multiplicative buffs to be further increased 2 times, and then further increase those buffs by 0.3. So it's pretty strong, being able to get like basically like a ranging from like a 1.6 to like a 1.75 times chain multiplicative buff at any point is actually pretty strong. And then it also will further increase your crew's base attack boost by 500, which goes hand in hand with the Katakuri and Big Mom, which their switch effect generates a base attack boost, or it's their super type that generates the base attack boost. So being able to use this to basically buff the base attack boost that Katakuri and Big Mom provide makes sense, but also synergizes really well with versus Blackbeard, because with versus Blackbeard, his action special does grant a very strong attack boost and a very, very strong base attack boost. I think it is the best base attack boost in the game, going all the way up to 3,000. So being able to use versus Blackbeard's 3,000 base attack boost and then use this special to buff it, especially because versus Blackbeard has so many different effects in his kit that allow you to reduce your crew's HP. So that allows you to then use the special while you're at low HP to get the better chain multiplicative buff, and then use the special to buff the attack boost from Blackbeard. Like, it makes sense. This character just synergizes so well with that unit. And the thing is like, while this character just synergizes so well with Blackbeard, Blackbeard is still like the headlining unit. Blackbeard is the whole reason why Powerhouse are kind of like so busted right now. But I do feel like this character, he does provide some very interesting mechanics. This is just a unit that you're probably not going to need that often. Like, removing tap limit is whatever. Bind removal, not that uncommon. The guy provides pretty good chain multiplicative buffs, but again, like, that's all he really kind of does. I mean, he has unique abilities to get around gimmicks because of the captain effect, being able to resist a bunch of stuff. The superclass obviously being the headline powerful thing here, being able to remove 2 turns of special reverse and 7 turns of special bind, incredibly busted. And then they do have a super tandem, which is also kind of like a whatever type of ability. It does provide a 1000 base attack boost for the final tap unit, which can work very well with versus Blackbeard, by the way. And then it also provides a 2.25 boost, but it does, you know, provide a bunch of other units that are needed on the team. You can't stack Rush with Blackbeard's Rush with super tandem, so you have to use the super tandem before you use the Rush final tap of Blackbeard. So I don't know, this character's a little clunky. I feel like there are some missing pieces to truly make this character great, but overall, this character is a bunch of fun to use. I just definitely think that it is definitely skippable and not really required. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about this one down below in the comment section. Would love to hear your guys' opinion on this one. I really hope you guys did enjoy the video though. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video. 調子に乗るな。